Israeli military investigation into the killings of 15 Palestinian medics in Gaza has resulted in a deputy commander being fired over what it describes as professional failures. The IDF claims there was no attempt to conceal the event, but there had been breaches of orders and failures to properly report the incident. The aid workers were fatally shot and buried in a shallow grave, where they were uncovered by UN officials a week later. Nicole Johnson was at the IDF briefing and has the latest from Jerusalem.
What really struck me after going through a 2-hour breakdown of this investigation with a briefing with the Israeli Defence Forces was how much time they spent talking about the state of mind of the battalion, talking about essentially the state of concern, the fear that they were in, that it is subjective, that they were operating in a grey zone, that it's problematic, that they had this feeling, a feeling that Hamas was operating all around them. So they spent a lot of time talking about that, trying to convince the journalists who were there of the situation on the ground for these Israeli forces. But I think also what really stuck out for me was what happened with the convoy. So essentially what the IDF said was that the deputy commander was wearing his night vision goggles. From the position that he was in, he looked up, he could see a truck, he could see that it had lights, but that he wasn't able to look high enough to see the sirens on top of the truck and thus identified that it was a fire truck. And so he opened fire and then the rest of the battalion followed. And it was only some time after that, once they got much closer, that they realised that they were medical workers. The other main point was this point that the Israelis are making, that 6 of the 15 aid workers killed, according to the Israelis, are members of Hamas. Now, Israel has provided no evidence of that. They rarely provide any evidence of that. So we'll have to wait and see whether they come up with something in the next few days, in the coming week. But during the breakdown that we had from the Israeli Defence Forces about this, they talked about them being supporters, members, operatives. They used the words interchangeably. It was quite sort of vague, confusing and unclear to me exactly what they were referring to. But that is a major point of this. And it was something that, in my estimation of it, it did look as though the Israeli Defence Forces were trying to brush over that point and mainly focus on the operating environment and the series of mistakes and errors and wrong procedures over the course of the evening that led to the deaths of these 15 aid workers.